The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's breakfast show. We've got Carl Flynn with us today, who's going to be talking about how he gets his day started in a positive way. So just to start, what we're going to do is we're going to play this motivational video to get us all woken up and ready for the show. So listen away and enjoy.
Most of us go through life pretending that we don't have any special goals or ambitions or desires, when really deep down inside we do really want more. We block ourselves and we use these words almost like we're in a trance, like we're sleepwalking through life, that we find ways to cancel out our dreams, that a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of places we would like to go, a lot of things we would like to experience, and we just stop at but. But will cause you to hide out behind fear. But will cause you to come up with all types of excuses that you can validate your inaction and not acting on your dream. But is a dream killer. But most people, you know what they do? Most people go through life quietly and safely tiptoeing to an early grave. We've been holding back. We have ideas that we don't act on, things we want to do. We're afraid to take chances. See, a lot of people say no to things and they don't even know what they're saying no to. Don't allow but to keep you in the corner. There are a lot of people who say, but I tried once or twice and it didn't work out. And so they use that as an excuse not to ever come out again. Even if things don't work out, even if I experience defeat or failure, that does not make me a failure. It's a difference between failing and being a failure. If things don't work out, if you don't produce the results you want, that's all. But don't confuse who you are with the results that you produce. Do what you can, where you are with what you have, and never be satisfied. Yeah, don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more, that you deserve more. Why don't you decide now that you're going to expand your world, that if other people can learn, you can learn too. See, if you're working on your dream, sure there are going to be times you're going to want to give up. Sure there'll be times in life will knock you down and catch you on the blind side. But the challenge is to hold on. And if you hold on tenaciously, I say the universe is on your side. See, if you don't decide to act on your dream, if you don't decide to make a decision to live your life, if you don't decide to step into your fears, if you don't decide to say yes to your life, it will never work for you. You got to live what's in you. Life is just too short and unpredictable. But what do we say? But there'll always be tomorrow. Oh no. There's no guarantees you're going to show up tomorrow. Always something there to build a case of why you can't move on, why you can't grow to the next level, why you can't begin to manifest your greatness, why you can't begin to live life on your terms. That you're going to say, it's not worth it? Yes, that's going to be right there for you. It's going to be in your face, telling you to go back. So if you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Life will never be the same again. Live your dream. Is it possible for you to have all your dreams become a reality in your lifetime? Yes, it is possible. But the real question you should be asking yourself, have you made the decision?
That's a great video that's chosen by Carl this morning called Awakening. So Matthias M was really really good motivational. He did create some motivational videos, millions of people. There's 3.5 million views on this one. Other ones, I started watching the Dream one. It was only 13 million. Was it only 13 million? But it was 13 million on it at the time. But then about a year later, it's like 26 million, something like that, which is, the guy really knows how to be able to get you motivated in the morning. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to welcome Carl here. Now, Carl's a friend of mine. The only thing I hate about Carl is the fact that I can say 30 years ago with him, which makes me feel older than I should feel. So that's the only thing. Other than that, we were in primary school and that together, and he's been working the business with us for the last, how long has it been now, Carl?
I started in January.
January. So, and he's doing a fantastic job as well. He's learning a lot along the way, changing a lot of things a lot of things about him and making himself into, would you say, a more positive person today?
Oh yeah, amazing positives. Yeah, I've really grown in myself really since I've joined in January.
Yeah.
Like Chris said, I met him after 30 years. Last time I seen him was 8 years of age, which is scary, really.
I haven't changed that much, I promise.
Yes.
But if you tell us a little bit about your story, Carl, and I know it's only been since January, but there'll be people who are listening to this who've only been in the business a couple of weeks and things like that, and they'll be able to. So if you just tell them a little bit about how you joined and what you've been doing.
Yeah, it was an ad from Chris Sayer promoting the C9 back in January, and after Christmas, after pigging out all over the Christmas period, I needed to do something. So I took him up on the C9 and I was pretty much amazed with the results. So we started talking about the business and the products. And it went from there, really. We got the ball rolling in, I think it was the end of January.
Yeah.
And we gained promotion in the March. March, the supervisor, which was amazing. It was from the help from Chris and Catherine, the mentoring. And everybody else in the team, the team spirit is just amazing, and it's a great company to be involved in.
Yeah, and what we're looking at is with Carl at the moment, he's going to be on track for getting towards assistant manager and going for manager as well. So there's going to be loads of things that will probably happen along the way. It's not been easy every step of the way, Carl. Would you say?
No, it's not easy. I work a lot of shift work and. I got 3 young kids who are twins, a 6 and 9-year-old, and so it's a busy lifestyle. My wife is a full-time lecturer, so she's busy as well. So no, it's not open plain sailing, but with help from everybody around in the team, it's doable.
Yeah, and I think what it says on the video there is being able to find a dream and find something that you want to latch on to, and that can be a driving force then whatever you do. So, you've got plenty of reasons why it wouldn't work, Carl. You've got shift work, you've got 3 kids, you've got these.
Yeah.
Your wife works full time as well. So, there's plenty of reasons why, but there's obviously one then that helps you to be able to keep going and keep driving forward. And for you, it's trying to get out of shift work at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my end goal, is to give up shift work and to become a full-time FBO and climb the ladder as far as possible.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that, some people do it in a couple of weeks, some people do it in a couple of years, but it's more about being able to do it at a pace that you're able to do it. Like you said, you've got a busy lifestyle, you've got a lot of things going on, so I think getting forever integrated into your life rather than feeling that it's something else that you have to do. So it's just talking to people when you see them, having a chat with people, and making sure that they know exactly what you're doing, and being excited about what you do. Excitement plays a massive part in it, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, and it's sort of changing your mindset to integrate the whole business in your life. Really, that's the main thing. It's slowly learning how to sort of
how to get it integrated.
Yeah, how to get it
part of your everyday.
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yes,
and starting conversations with people. What you'll find is that we find a lot of the time that sometimes it's not just about going over to somebody and telling them straight about your business. If you take a bit of time to talk to them about what they want and what they, if somebody is into photography, for example, if you actually sit down, so a best way to do a one-to-one, or to do a chat, or to do an informal chat with somebody about the business, is not to mention anything about the business whatsoever. First of all, is to just find out about what they like, and just get them talking about what they like. So whether you know anything about it or not, you'll be surprised at what kind of techniques you can use, and how much you actually absorb about a certain subject. So, for example, I was talking to somebody the other day who, I was on about what would you do with some extra money, and they said, "Oh, I'd probably buy a new camera lens." I said, "Oh, do you do photography then?" And they were like, "Yes." And I took an interest in what they did, and I started asking them about, "Oh, what type of pictures you take and stuff," and they talked to me for ages. So then, when I talked to them about what I did, they listened intently then, and they were, because everybody wants to feel important and to feel listened to, because we've all got one thing in common, and that is that we all are only interested in what we want. I know that sounds selfish, but if you took a photograph, like I've mentioned before, and you had 30 people in there, the first person you'd look for is you. Because everyone's common interest is themselves. So if you take an interest in what they do, and you've got something in common with them, because they're interested in what they do and you're interested in what they do as well. So that's a best way of building any sort of rapport with anybody. And if you haven't got rapport with anybody when you go into a meeting, you won't be able to really take it to the next step, or to have a really in-depth conversation about what they want and what they want to achieve and how they want to get and what they want to do and whether they're going to listen to you. So by showing an interest in them, I would say your first at least 10 minutes of any one-to-one or meeting or anything like that you have with anybody is to just talk about them non-stop and just listen. The best words you can use in a conversation like that is, oh, right, that's brilliant. Okay, these are things that'll encourage them to carry on speaking and carry on telling you, and watch people come alive. You can sit down with somebody in a room, have a chat with them about it, and as long as you're talking about them, if you talked about them for half an hour, and you didn't say anything apart from go, yeah, okay, brilliant, that sounds good, and you kept encouraging them to carry on talking about themselves, they'll walk away from that conversation thinking you were amazing, and thinking that because they talked about themselves and they really enjoy talking about themselves.
And I think that's one of the hardest things I had to learn, because you get so excited about the business and the opportunity, you just blurt it out, and the person's just staring at you thinking, bloody hell.
That's it, and it's called verbally vomiting over somebody.
Yeah,
so verbally vomiting over them is something that you want to try to avoid. And the best way of being able to, and when there's a silence, it's so tempting to actually step in and say something. Don't let them do it. So that's the best part about it, is that when somebody is saying something, and you don't jump in, fill that silence. Let them carry on speaking, and they'll do it. And that's really important. So rapport for moving your business forward is a huge, huge factor in it. Huge factor. So whenever you walk into someone's, if you see somebody's car, for example, or you know that you've gone over their Facebook and you can see that they've got a hobby of, I don't know, sewing, knitting, whatever it is. I know when I spoke to Carl, he was doing a lot of knitting at the time and stuff.
I love
sewing. So you go through their Facebook and you have a look through their Facebook to find certain things to be able to talk about. So hobbies that they've got, or holidays that they've been on. Oh, I see that you went on holiday. It's not your Facebook. You went on holiday to Las Vegas or something. They'll have loads of stories that they want to tell you about that, and you sit down and you listen to them, okay, and you go through them and you listen to them and you encourage them to carry on speaking. That rapport will be amazing for you. You'll be able to build long-lasting friendships as a result of that as well, and that'll be amazing for you to be able to grow your business. And I think if you took that one tip and put that into your business today, you'd really benefit from that. Then it'd be really something that you can really help to probably boost your business. And I picked that tip up from a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by is Dale Carnegie, and it goes on about it's about how to deal with human beings and how they tick. So if any of you haven't read that, definitely read it. It's one of the I'm reading it at the moment, and it's given me loads of principles to be able to do. And one of them is smiling. When you walk into a one-to-one or walk into a BP or walk into anywhere that you're meeting someone, greet them with a massive, massive smile. What it does is it tells you that it gives you the impression that you're friendly. Because if you're walking in and you're stressed and you're nervous and you're walking up to somebody with that look on your face, they're going to be like, whoa, because you look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. A smile is something that'll change somebody's perception about you instantly. And you can, even when you're on the phone, if you're smiling on the phone, they'll be able to feel that. And because it changes your whole persona and your whole attitude, because a smile on your face will change. It releases different chemicals in your body, makes you more approachable as well. Okay, so some tips for you to be able to integrate into your business there. Now, there was one thing that I picked up from the video we watched earlier, and that's the word but. It is a terrible word from a mindset point of view. But when you say the word but, it negates everything that the person said before it. Okay, so if you turn around to a team member and say, yeah, you're doing really well at the moment. It's really, really encouraging. I've seen that you're doing this and doing that. It's really good. But as soon as you do that, unconsciously, or in your subconscious, or the person that you're speaking to subconscious, it instantly negates everything they said. They don't recognize anything that's said before. So all they see that as then is really probably criticism or having a go at you.
Yeah, since you've told me that, I've noticed that. And as soon as you say but, it's like, oh, right, okay, I'm not that good at it.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Yeah. So you've got to try and avoid, so change the word but for and. So it'll go, you've been doing really well at the moment. I've seen that you're growing your business. You're doing the things that needed to be done. And one thing I've noticed is that, you could probably be a little bit more consistent by doing this, or you can go into doing this. And so with and, it's a follow on from it. If you haven't heard Phil Jones or listened to Phil Jones' magic words, I picked up some of the magic words that he was saying the other day from his podcasts. If any of you haven't got Phil Jones's app, it's free to download. Just type in Phil M. Jones Academy in your app store or on your Android, whatever you've got. And you go in there, there's podcasts in there. In the training sections, there's also videos and stuff. And the guy is really good, really, really good at what he does, and he really makes sense. I know you were the one who put me on to the app.
Yeah, he does really know what he's talking about. He is amazing.
He is, and the kind of things that you'll pick up from them are really, really good. And I think that I know with Carl and Catherine, which is Carl's wife, they've been doing a lot.
It's not Chris's Catherine.
No, it's just confusing. They both spell it the same way as well. It's always confusing. So the thing that I give Carl a copy of Jim Rohn's CD the other day, and there were some great tips in there. I know you took a lot from there with regards to prospecting and sowing seeds.
It's my first CD in the car now. Yeah, I press play with it every time I get in the car because it is a great CD.
Yeah, and I think there's one law in there that you mentioned earlier on today is about the law of sowing and reaping. And what you really got to remember is that as long as, when we say speak to 5 people a day or do the things that you need to be doing on a constantly basis, you're looking at them being sowing and reaping. So what you're sowing, you're actually going to reap back. So from a farming point of view, you're putting seeds down. Eventually, the harvest will grow. But what he talks about is some of them, what stages some of them could be. And, he talks about, you mentioned this earlier, didn't you? You had somebody...
Just gotta let the birds have them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And, some of them, I was talking to Carl about somebody he was speaking to, and they had completely changed their mind. And I love the way that Carl had turned around and said, the birds got it. Because what Jim Rohn says is sometimes when you sow in these seeds, some of them will fall by the wayside and the birds will get them. But you've just got to come down to that fact that that's what happens. So, but the thing is you can either chase the birds, and an example that he uses is that he had somebody who was going to turn up to a one-to-one, for example, and they didn't show up. Somebody had told them, or it's this, it's that, and that person decided not to turn up to the meeting. So he turns around and says, "I wish I knew who that person was. If I did, I'd go and see them and tear them a new page." And he turns around and he says, "You know." But he says, don't do that, because if you do that, you actually leave the field. So therefore, you're not sowing anymore. So that's distracting you from your business. Just put it down to the fact of birds got them. And because you can put them into that category, it's okay with you then. What you're looking at, and unconsciously, you are just turning around and going, oh, the birds got them. You know, some of them will fall on rocky ground, and some of them will fall on thorny ground where you know all the people that you speak to, and then they go off and speak to somebody else, and somebody who has no idea what we do turns around and gives them a full-on lecture about why it isn't good, when really it's just a case of them don't want to do it because they don't want to be the one who looks silly when they go and be successful. So they drag them down, or as they would say in the story, is the thorns get around and choke the life out of that person then. But that's okay because the thorns got them. And you just categorizing people who go into the business and people who don't then. And I think you're making it okay for people to say no then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your fault.
And there's, you're going to find this with a lot of people is so negative, and they see people succeed and they jealous in a way, and they just try to spoil that jealousy.
Yeah.
So what I find is I just think of the people that I know that's succeeded in the business, and that's in the back of my head when they talk in, and I'm thinking, you're wrong.
Yeah, and that's it. And you just got to put it down to that. And the birds got them, or the thorns got them, and the ones will come through. You just got to keep sowing and reaping. And that's all it's about. Is keep doing what the rules are. And also mindset. I do a lot of work with Carl with mindset. We've done few NLP techniques with you. I mean, well, loads of NLP techniques.
I would, if it weren't for Chris, I would never be standing here now, really talking to you a lot.
Yeah,
so I'd never have done my story on Success Day.
Yeah, we worked on that quite a lot, didn't we? From a point of view of, we set a few anchors with you, so positivity anchors, so that you're able to fire them during the time. But we also did what's known as a swish pattern, which what that does is it basically changes you from a nervous, a nervous behavior into an excited behavior. And NLP is a great way of being able to change certain behaviors that you have and make them into more positive ones. And I think that because me and Carl go running in the mornings as well, which is a great way that we start our day in a positive way by doing that, really, don't we?
Yes. Jogging in the morning really sets you up for the day, really.
Yeah, and we'll go. Sometimes we'll go for 4K. Sometimes we'll go for 8K. It depends on what kind of time schedule we're on. But we get up. We start sometimes at 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and we go out. We have a natter, and I thank Carl for the fact that we push each other to go out. Yeah, sometimes you don't feel like getting up, but you know that somebody's going to be coming down, so you've got to get up. So we use that motivation to keep each other going. And it's nice to have somebody to be able to depend on then, to be able to motivate you to do what needs to be done then as well. So it's really, really useful to find somebody who you've got a real connection with and know really well, and they're able to motivate each other then to get the things done that you need to do. So if you haven't got a motivational buddy, I'd suggest you find one, because it's really, really helpful.
It is a great help to find someone with equal
drive and ambition.
It really pushes you along.
Yeah, and so remember what you're going at. One thing I want you to take out of today is to make sure that you get rid of the word "but" in your life. Because people don't know it. They're not thinking. They don't think to themselves, right? Oh, they said "but." It's an unconscious behaviour that, like you quite rightly put, is that, oh, so you're building me up, you're building me up, you're building me up. All right, you're just saying that. That's an unconscious behaviour. So what people do is they switch off from you then, and people don't take criticism very well. So don't complain, don't criticise, and don't condemn. This is another thing that I've learned from the book that I'm reading at the moment. It's if somebody brings you mashed potatoes for your food and you wanted French fries, don't turn around and have a go at the waitress. Just turn around and say, "Oh, excuse me, I would have preferred the French fries, but you've brought the mash out. If there's any bother, can I change that, please?" They will more than be happy enough to go off and do that. You probably find that you'll come back with a massive plate of them. because they'll know that they've made a mistake and you haven't criticized, condemned, or complained about it. You've just been really tidy about it. How many times have you been in a situation where you jumped on an opportunity? The biggest one that always used to annoy me, and I used to do it myself, is have you ever been sitting at a filter at a traffic lights and it's turned and you haven't even given them a second and you beep in the horn?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just to be that person that beeps the horn. I don't know what it is. I think people really enjoy beeping the horn and somebody not going for the filter. And
Some more than others.
Yeah, someone to get right on it, don't they? Really. And, that's something that we're looking for opportunities to criticize, condemn, or complain about someone. And today, everybody who's on you and everyone who's watching the recording of this, I want you to go through today and I want you to not complain, not criticize, and not condemn anything. I want you to get into that practice today because it's easy to be able to get caught up in those kinds of things. But take a deep breath just before you're about to do it. You'll feel yourself about to do it. Take a deep breath and look for an alternative way of doing it. Look for an alternative way of dealing with that situation. I've got kids. Carl's got kids. I'm sure you've got kids that are on when you're listening to this as well. It's really easy to be able to get into a situation where you have a go at the kids, and all they're doing really is just looking for our attention because they want to be a part of our day. They're interested in what we're doing, and because we're rushing around and doing these things and getting into different situations, and then we can be quite snappy and quite irritable and condemn what they're saying, complain about them. And today I want that to stop. Today I want you to go through today making sure that you do all the things and not criticize, condemn, or complain, and use that as a principle for today. And just at the end of the day, you're the people around you and the people who you're speaking to and your family and things like that, they'll be more responsive to what you're doing, and you'll like yourself more for not doing it as well.
I try to think that I treat people the way I like to be treated.
Yeah.
So if people shout at me, well, I don't shout at them.
And it's having that yardstick in it.
Yeah.
And I'm not religious by any means, but I can see why people have that kind of faith and have that principle in life, and it's something to follow. And Jesus said it himself, didn't he? So it was a case of do unto others as you want done to you, and that's something that you should be taking. That's something that you stand by, and the principle that you stand by. So what you need to, if you don't follow religion or you haven't got that kind of purpose in your life, it's like I remember when I went on my journey of trying to becoming sorting my mindset out, because I struggled for years with my mindset and trying to take control of it. And the book that I had was called The Power of Now, which is an amazing read if any of you are looking for some kind of purpose. Because my words to my friend Emma were, I need something. I want something in my life. I don't want something as strict as religion, but I want something to believe in. And she said, you've got to read this book. This will absolutely change your life. And it did. And The Power of Now did. It became more about being present and enjoying the moment rather than worrying about the future or worrying about what happened in the past. And these are things you can't change or can't influence. The only thing that you can change right in this moment in time is you being in the moment. So that's a great book. And have a look for some inspiration from things. And I've started reading loads of books lately, and I'm absolutely devouring books. And if you talked to me a couple of months ago with regards to it, I probably would have. I wouldn't be reading books. And to be honest, I thought that I wasn't very good at reading. But all I was out of practice. And now I'm just going through books and reading and speed reading through things, which is really great. So if one thing today is, don't complain, condemn, or what's the other one I had? I can't remember what it is now. Complain, condemn, or criticize, anybody today. So to use that as an exercise, but also make sure that you pick up a book today. Pick up a book and just start reading it. You must have a motivational book around. And if not, I would definitely pick with that, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's amazing, right? So that gets us to the end of today's show. I hope you've enjoyed it, Carl. It's been brilliant having you here today and co-presenting with me. It's been amazing. What I'm going to do now is we're going to put on Carl's motivational song now. At this point, I do have to turn off the recording, but if you are listening to the recording, because obviously copyright, then there's a little link that you can press and be able to listen to the song then the same way as we did. So thank you very much, everybody, today for listening in. I'm just going to pop the song on now. Carl, I'd like to thank you as well. Have you enjoyed today?
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, thanks for all listening.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've got
Have a lovely day.
House of Pain, Jump Around. So turn it up and have some fun.